Listen, welcome back to Hot Topics TV, y'all. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's get right into this one. Never mind my Jamaican flag. I want y'all over here to know that I am a Jamaican, and yes, I have another channel on YouTube that's called SoFlo TV on YouTube. That's my bigger channel. You could go over there, hit the subscribe button as well. Over here today though, let me turn the camera a little bit this way so we're not so much focused on the flag, but we're more focused on what we're about to talk about. Because this is so sad. It gets no sadder than this, okay? This man, listen, and I'm doing this video so some of you women could probably take stock of yourself and not have yourself and your children end up in this situation. All right, so listen to the story first, and then I'm gonna give my opinion at the end, and I hope it helps somebody, wake somebody up or something like that. So this says that a bond by ABC 13 News. Bond has been set now at $1 million for a man that was accused of murdering his girlfriend's 16-year-old daughter. Now you gotta wonder, why would a grown man murder a 16-year-old girl? As soon as I heard the story, I heard it yesterday, I said he was molesting that girl, or he was trying to molest her, and that's why he did that. Otherwise, you're mama's boyfriend. You don't have a reason to do anything like that. Right? Humble, Texas. A 16-year-old was shot and killed inside her home early Friday morning in Humble, and her mother's boyfriend has been charged with her murder. Van Brisbon is 60 years old with a 6-0, and shorty who he killed was 16. He has been charged with murder. He went before the judge and they set his bond at $1 million. Usually when they set it at $1 million, that's like saying, we don't want you to get out of here, and we know that you can't afford $1 million bond, so you're going to be sitting in here until we go to trial, right? The victim, identified as 16-year-old Lauren Juma, had her whole life in front of her. The teen had just made the Nimitz High School cheerleading team and had dreams of joining her older sister in the U.S. Air Force after graduation. She was going to go military like her sister. But now her family is devastated. The tragic series of events began early Friday morning when Juma FaceTimed her mother and one of her older sisters. So she was scared. Listen to this. This is deep. She was so scared. She picked up her phone and she didn't call them and speak to them. She FaceTimed them so she could show them her mom and then her sister. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and she just said that this man was acting really weird and she wanted me to come pick her up, is what her 19-year-old sister said, right? Her little sister, 16, said, yo, mama boyfriend over here acting really weird. I want you to come pick me up. FaceTiming her. But Harmon would never get to see her little sister alive again. By the time I got there, this is what her sister said, by the time I got there, the police were already out there searching around the house and stuff, Harmon said, tears welling up in her eyes and stuff. She said, I was there about 3 minutes before I heard 2 gunshots go off, bah, bah, and then I ran towards the house. According to court records, Lauren told her mom, which is Lori Young, in her FaceTime call to her mom, that Brisbon, the 60-year-old man, he was standing inside of my bedroom, mama, in the dark. He in here, he in my room in the dark. Can you please tell him on FaceTime, not voicemail, on FaceTime, he in my room, mama, look, he's in here in the dark. Can you please tell him to get out of my room? Which she did. She actually said, get out of her room. What are you doing in her room? Now I'm saying to myself, first thing I would have done was 911, and I'm on my way, but I don't know why she left her daughter there with this man late night, and you see where he ended up, in her bedroom. Right then, when she said, he's in here, mama, and the mom told him to get out of her daughter's room, she let out a loud scream. And say, he got a gun, mama, he got a gun. And then the phone call ended. Sad as hell. Meanwhile, Young, who was at work training program in Austin, rushed back to the house she shared with Brisbon, the 60-year-old man, and her daughter for the last 3 years. She was 16, so she must have moved this man in when her daughter was 13, right? I'm doing the math. She just joined the cheerleading team, she said, recalled the devastated mother. She had a bright future ahead of her, and she was going to go to the U.S. Air Force when she graduated. Family members who had met Brisbon, the man, the 60-year-old man, over the past few years, family members said outwardly that he seemed very friendly and they never had any problems with him. He's a cool dude. We like her for him, for her. He good people from all that we know, right? He just seemed like a really good person when we met him. This is her cousins talking and other family members. Nobody thought this would have ever happened. Harmon told ABC 13 that Brisbane had been weird before. He had been weird before? Really? And he's still in the house with your daughters? Really? Or your daughter? Really? Investigators with the Harris County Sheriff Office Homicide Unit have not released a possible motive. He can rot in jail, is what she said. This is the mom talking now, right? And she's like, he can rot in jail. For all I care, he can rot in jail. He had no reason to take my baby's life. She was only 16 years old. Brisbane is scheduled to be back in court sometime soon, in a couple of days. Alright, check this out. Here's this grown man, right? He moves him in with your daughter at 13. Your daughter is 13 years old. You move this man in. She's dead at 16. Nobody sees any red flags. He's a cool dude. He is everything that the family think. He's cool for her. You know, he treats her good. He cares about her child like it's his child. All that other stuff. They're missing all the red flags. The part where the mom said he had been weird before, meaning he had made it into her bedroom before, and she told him to get out. I wonder what his excuse was before that allowed him to still stay, or allowed her to still stay in a relationship with him. I always said this. A lot of these women are so lonely, and they're so quick to move a man in. They're so in need of a man, in need of companionship. Sometimes it's a financial thing. They're not able to pay the bills all on their own, so they get somebody else. Because, you know, you don't want to downgrade your lifestyle. You don't want to go from a house to an apartment because this is what I can afford now, kind of thing. You know, but with him, we could both put our money together and we could get this big old house over here, and we could keep up appearances and stuff like that. There's so many different reasons why they do it. You know, I shout out to the women who take on 3 jobs. But you can't take on 3 jobs. You're going to leave your children at home by themselves. And then that's illegal. And then you have your children in the foster care system taken away from you, right? So, I don't know. I shout out to the women who do it, man, who struggle, who hustle, who put it together and never bring a man in. There are female and males, children that have grown into young adults now who can tell you, yeah, my dad left when I was 7 and my brother was 9, and my mom never, ever brought a man in the house. Ever. She never remarried. She never brought a boyfriend around. I don't even think she dates. And if you ask mama, mama will be like, yeah, I've been dating, but I never brought my date around. You know, I had, when the kids got a little bit older, when I was able to get a babysitter, or my mom would keep them for couple of hours or whatever, I would go get me. I would go see somebody, but I never introduced them to my children because I don't know if they were gonna be permanent or not, right? And one lady said, given the fact that my children were so hurt after my divorce, I didn't want to introduce them to another man and then have that relationship not work out as well. And now they're going through the motions again. Because children do go through the motions. The sad part about it is children don't know how to handle that. Most adults don't know how to handle it. So what do you think a child is going to do with all that negative emotion of a breakup, of home being separated again? Now you got to move again. Or somebody is mad at somebody and I got to pick sides again. And all this other stuff, right? So you gotta put the children first, man. She moves this man into her house with her daughter at 13 years old, and her daughter is dead by the time she is 16 years old. That's sad. And he's in the girl's room, and he has the nerve to stay in her room while she picks her phone up to call two people. She FaceTimes her mom and FaceTimes her sister. They're in two different locations, two different phone calls, and he stays in that room. I think he was discovered at this point, and he made up his mind at this point that he was going to kill this girl. He already made up his mind he was going to kill her, and that's what he did. He killed her. It's a sad ass story, but I hope this is a lesson for a lot of these women out there who get left. And I know we can blame men and say this is why it's important for you not to leave your children behind, but it takes two people to keep a relationship together, and when one wants to go, the other has to deal with it, right? So if you end up in a relationship where you're no longer with the person you had the children with, this goes especially for moms. Especially for moms. You have to remember that pedophiles, they have an agenda. And a lot of the times, they actually pick out. Listen, I was watching a documentary, and this renowned pedophile, serial pedophile, he explained the type of things he would look for. This is a white man, okay, that comes from a middle class community, raised family, have a bit of money, they doing good and everything, and he didn't have to live in the places that he did. He said the first thing he would do was he would move into low-income areas. Why? Because in these low-income areas, you had two things. One, you had children that had to go without things, and two, you had a lot of single moms in these low-income areas. This is the pedophile speaking on this documentary I was watching. And I thought, damn, that's interesting. So they're extremely calculated. And then he would either he said he would never approach the children who were loud and boisterous, because those children were more likely to scream and make a whole lot of noise and go tell a whole lot of people. He always observed the kids, and it was the one that was quiet, or the one that was always left behind, or didn't want to be a part of the crowd, is the one that he would target. And then he would look for stuff like everybody is going back to school. It's September. School starts, right? And everybody is wearing new sneakers. They have Jordans on and new book bags and fresh clothes. And he would look for the kids who were wearing raggedy clothes going back to school. And he would go to them and he would say, man, everybody is fresh. And you know, what's going on with you? How come you don't have new stuff? And they would just start talking to him. Because my mama can't afford it. You live with your mom and your dad? No, just my mama, and she's struggling and she can't afford it. And he was like, this is how he reeled them in. And he would start saying stuff like, you know what? I got a pair, what size shoes you wear? I got a pair of shoes for you. But don't tell anybody I gave it to you. I don't need anything from you. I'm gonna just get it for you. And he'll go buy a pair of Jordans. Size 7, he'll give it to them. Now he's friends with that child, right? And he can talk to them whenever he wants to. Then he'll buy a book bag, and then he'll buy a pair of clothing, and he'll buy this and that. And before you know it, it's, come on over to my place and spend a couple of hours. I see you don't hang out with the other kids anyways. And then he would do what he did and these kind of stuff. Or he would get into a relationship with a single mom that had children, but his eyes were on the child that he wanted to get to. So he had to play up the whole facade. Like, man, I'm falling in love with this mom, and I love her children like they're mine, and all this other stuff. Y'all need to be aware of this, because this is very, very real. You know, it's sad that this young lady had to lose her life like this. She obviously had a lot of potential, beautiful little girl, had a lot of potential ahead of her, and she had plans for her life that now will never be fulfilled. And I know her mom must feel some type of way. Now, the sad part is her mom wasn't out partying. She wasn't at any hangout with the girls night out. It wasn't like, oh, I trusted him, that's why I left her. I had to go take a break, have a couple of drinks. You know, I see mothers do that all the time. I'm stressed out. I need a girls' night out. Well, you should have thought about all that shit before you started having children, right? You can't just be tossing your child and, oh, I trust him, because you see what happened and you see how long it took him. It took him 3 years. I end this video by saying this. He knew exactly what he wanted to do and who he wanted to get to from the day he approached that mother. Let that sink in. Leave your comments in the comment section below and I'll get back to you in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button. It's Hot Topics TV, and you already know, if the topic is hot, we're on it. I'm out. Peace.